Hello everyone, welcome to the post-mortem where we break down the game that's just happened between Manchester United and Bayern Munich. We've just been beat 4-3 somehow. I have no idea what to feel, think, or even say about it. It's utter madness what's just happened there, especially in the second half, as the thumbnail kind of alludes to. Adam, how would you assess that performance, mate? Good luck.
Uh, well, look, I missed the first 20 minutes I did, and I probably missed the best part for us. There was like no intensity. It's the one thing I'm worried about midfield. I'm worried about defense. The main thing I think that concerns me the most is I put it in the chat on the watch along is whenever we concede or whenever we score, our heads just drop. It's like we just lose our focus every time. Sam has been saying when it rains it pours. We concede one, 2 minutes later we concede another one, and look, it's happened now. How many games have we played? 7 games this season,
I
I think
think it
so
is, but
far,
we've lost 4 and won 2.
and we've lost four. And in those, I think those four losses, we've actually conceded one after the other in the space of 2 to 4 minutes every single time, and it's just not good enough. It isn't. We Ten Hag, the managers, came out and said that he wants to see us be the best transition team in the world. But like I'm just seeing no tactics right now. I'm not. Whenever we have a chance to break, we put it out wide, and it seems like Rashford just holds on to the ball. He doesn't want to run with the ball. He makes these runs in behind for the pass, but once he has the ball at his feet, he just stops running and just puts his head up like this. And then when sometimes he does make a run, he just has his head down. He doesn't look for a man. Then
Yeah.
it's constantly making the wrong decision at the right time, at the wrong time, or the right time, and it's I think we've alluded to it like over the last year and a half. Even when he got the 30 goals, it's the football IQ isn't there on him. And look, I know I'm kind of focusing on Rashford right now. It wasn't the worst player I think on the pitch, but there was a lot of question marks over him. As a team overall, we were dreadful
Yeah.
from
This
probably minute 20 onward.
The issue is there's so many things to discuss. I don't even know like what kind of angles to hit it at, because the legit is you've got the Christian Eriksen penalty, you've got Bruno and Rashford, Lissandro, who I want to talk about, Regulon being one of our better players. Again, the goals that we conceded, some of the decisions. I don't know, Sam. You can kind of have free will with this. Whatever you feel like is the most important bit to talk about, or what you feel most passionate about. Maybe it is a controversial decision. Maybe it is a certain player's performance. You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, like my brain is a lot, like we said off camera, my brain's like Adam at the minute. It's just fucking don't know what direction to go in. Yeah, just an absolute madness of the game. First 20 minutes looked quite comfortable, looked decent, making some chances. We had that early opportunity with Ericsson and Palestri. I thought, okay, like this isn't too bad. But then in my brain, I remembered same thing happened against Brighton. Played well for the first 20, 30 minutes, went to shit. Same thing happened against Spurs, went to shit. So I was a bit wary of what was gonna come, and then obviously it did happen. Bayern weren't great in the first half. I'll say that they were not good team. Like they had 2 shots on target and they both went in. Like I don't know what you do. Like obviously the first one, Onana has to do better. Like that is a De Gea level mistake. He has to stop that. Has to. And then the second one is just poor defending from us again, which is just standard for us at this point. Penalty was never a penalty. Like I don't understand how that's handball. When I put it on Twitter before with a comedian, Garnacho strikes a ball into a Tottenham player hand. It's not a penalty, but the Eriksen one is a penalty. Don't know where the consistency is anymore. I don't know what handball is anymore. I really don't. I don't know what it is. And then all out of nowhere, we scrambled 2 goals through Casemiro, who has been piss poor for large amounts of games, like huge amounts of games. Bruno piss poor, but set it up. Casemiro piss poor, but set it up. Like it was such a bizarre game. I don't know what to focus on. I don't know where to be. Like it was so bizarre, like utterly bizarre game.
I suppose the worrying thing is, Adam, this is just my opinion. Again, I don't want to put it onto you, but let me know if you agree. I think our best players from last season are arguably our worst at the minute. Like they're playing really, really bad. I think Lissandro, God knows what's happened to him. I don't know if he's still injured or if it's something like he just doesn't look at it at all. Doesn't look confident. I don't know if he's still carrying injury. Casemiro, the amount of times he receives the ball and thinks he has like all the time in the world, and just gets pinched. He gets it pinched off him every single time, off Musiala or Kimmich or Goretzka, whoever it was. Bruno Fernandes away from home in big performances, like he was running a lot, but that's the only thing I could possibly say about him. And then Marcus Rashford as well, you touched on him slightly there. Like, is it time? I don't think we can at the minute, but do any of these need to be dropped at all? Rashford, Bruno?
No, I think that's a fair assessment. Our best players from last season haven't showed up at all this season, and it's costing us. And then a lot of the players who, weren't really at the ropes last season, but have been decent this season or playing at a higher level, are all injured. They are right now. So it's like the worst of both worlds rather than the best of both worlds right now. No. I think it's fair to draw players at this point. We're going into against a team now at the weekend who picked up their first point of the season there, and I know they play a certain way, but they haven't looked great at all this season. So if you're to do that, and I know we desperately need a win, but how are we relying on these players right now? They're not delivering, they're not. So why not give somebody a chance who, probably warranted in training? I don't know what the manager sees in training. It must be completely different than what we see on the pitch. Because nothing recently has warranted a start for these players, as you said. Lissandro has been terrible. He has. I think except one good challenge in the first half. That's all I can remember. He was poor. Casemiro, I mentioned it in our group chat. Like, he's been non-existent. Completely non-existent.
And he scored 2 today as well. That's the weird thing.
Good goals.
2 goals.
They were good goals as well. Really good goals.
Yeah. 2 goals, and he's still looking away from it. Like, he's miles off it, miles off the boil.
Yes. The only thing now is with Amrabat coming in, I think that's somebody who we need right now. We need to play a bit more defensive, kind of 2 people in the midfield. Eriksen, for me, I think was the worst player on the pitch for us tonight.
He's off the ball in it with him.
Until Scott McTominay replaced him and then became the worst player.
And then he gets a chance on the edge of the box, and it goes to him, and his touch just takes it fucking 10 yards away, and you're like, right, okay.
Shocking. You know what? I understand certain players at certain levels or aren't as good as other players, but when you're fucking jogging and you're like 2 goals to the thing, is no fucking excuse. Well, Scott McTominay is just jogging constantly.
That last goal was a fucking prime example of that. Did you see how much space Kimmich had around? He had 30 yards of space. You're giving Joshua Kimmich, one of the elite midfielders in Europe, that much space. He just scoops it to tell for the final goal, and they go and score. Like, you can admire the fight in it, but the quality on the ball at times was really, really lacking for me.
That 4th goal for them really, really kind of summed it up. Like, a man free, right through the middle it was. And I don't really blame the keeper for that. Like, he's put it into the roof and net. It's a really, really good finish. It is. He took it down well, but like the defense, where was the defense? Midfield again. I put it in earlier as well into our group chat. I'm just really, really tired of conceding and getting a bit of hope, scoring, then we're knocked down. We don't even have time to celebrate these days. We don't. It happened at Arsenal. It's happened. Who was it against? I'm trying to remember. Well, today again, after Højlund got the goal, we go up Eriksen. I know I said it as well. I actually blamed Eriksen for that, not for the giving away the penalty, but giving away the ball up the field when he had passes on, simple passes. Then it goes up for a corner on the other end, and then they get a penalty from that.
Same cutback. So again, the goal that is it Gnabry who scores. The 3 goals, Odegaard's goal for Arsenal, cut back. Eriksen's not marking him. He score. The Brighton, 2 of the goals, or 3 of the goals, I think it might have been.
Well, back and gross.
Score. With loads of space around him. The midfield is so unbalanced.
Lissandro with the Brighton one got done as well. He cut back and Lissandro went with it and just fell on his ass. It's like, last season, that would not have happened to Lissandro. It would not have happened.
He is all over the place at the minute. I think with our players, I really want to talk about Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes in particular. There's a few chats. Let me just read some of them out very quickly, and I'll think. We need to drop Bruno and Rashford. They look way too comfortable, says Andy Williams. I would probably agree with that. UTFR says Eriksen was bad tonight, which is Amrabat going to be fit. We need some physicality in the midfield. I think the lads would agree with that as well. The only positive is that it wasn't an embarrassing scoreline. Andy Williams says Bayern didn't get out of second gear. It was like a charity match. I mean, at times it was a training game. Really, really was. Let me see. Rashford shite, Bruno wank, Lissandro unusually shit. Don't get me started on the keeper as well. I do think people have short-term memory loss though, because on the TikTok on the lives, it was all saying like De Gea, bringing De Gea back and blah blah blah. And like,
No.
the reason why we got rid of him was for that exact reason. That's the ironic thing. Like the West Ham one, we all remember Ben Rama, P-roller, goes in, screaming at the TV. Sevilla game, awful. Everton game, awful. FA Cup final, awful.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we got rid of him. So obviously that narrative now, Sam, doesn't help at all, does it? Because everyone's going to be talking about De Gea now and the keeper situation.
I think you've got to say Onana's a mistake. Like, that is a blatant mistake. You cannot, in a Champions League game of all games. This is a guy who's played in a Champions League final as well, by the way, and played well. So, like, he knows this is not new to him. Like, this is not pressure that he can't handle. He's done this. So that sort of a mistake is unacceptable. Like, just unacceptable. But for the rest of the game, I thought he was pretty decent. He made some good saves. He pulled out some good saves, some shots and some things where Bayern could have scored, and he made some decent saves. He went the right way on the penalty and got as close as he could to it. But Harry Kane on penalties is basically like Thanos, and it's just, it's going to happen. Like, it's inevitable. So I can't really have got. Yeah, exactly. But when it matters, Adam, when a trophy's on the line, that's when he does. Yeah. But yeah, I thought apart from the mistake, I thought he was fine. Like, I didn't have an issue with him. I think all the goals, apart from the one he let in, were all defensive mistakes that let him down. And then the finish on the fourth one, like, I don't know who stops that. That's just ridiculous. So I think, again, I'm hesitant to be too harsh, but like you said, it's recency bias, isn't it? People forget how bad De Gea was, how much we were screaming for someone else to come in, and how much we were begging for Onana to get here. So I think we need to give him time. Like, this is not a Jadon Sancho situation where he's had 3 seasons and he's continuously doing it.
Yeah.
This is first season at United, different league, different team. You have to sort of give him time. Yeah, mistake. He should own up to it. I've just seen on Twitter he requested an interview, post-match interview.
Yeah, I was just about to read the quotes out there.
You go for it.
I have a lot to prove because, to be honest, my start at United isn't so good. My start at Manchester United isn't good. Today is one of my worst games. It was a big opportunity for us to bounce back from the pressure we're facing, but it's tough. We have to be together. If we didn't win today, it's because of me. So he's obviously being really harsh on himself, which, you're going to be gutted after a game like that. So I completely understand it. It happens. Alisson's made clangers. Edison's made clangers before. These things happen. You just don't want them to be repetitive behaviour where you're constantly seeing it.
The only thing is, though, that's when you rely on your teammates to actually pull you out of that and make up for that mess. Yeah. But we don't have anybody kind of to do that right now. We don't.
No.
And
sorry,
that's the issue. No, that's the issue. I was saying scoring goals has been our problem, but somehow we walked away from Munich with 3 away goals. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
You can get at them defensively. We were saying that in the preview. Like, Bayer Leverkusen scored 2 against them. One of it, I think, both towards the end as well. So that kind of hope was there. But every time we got a glimmer of hope, Højlund scores, you're like, oh, come on, yes, come on, we get back into this, blah blah blah. And then he scored again, and then they score, and it's like, fucking hell.
You thought as well. But you think, like, Alphonso Davies, fantastic going forward, really, really good going forward. But Ten Hag identified it in the pre-match saying he's not a defender. He's not great defensively.
It's hilarious, that.
And you think, right, we can get Pleshy, he'll have it. And he had him on toast for the first 20 minutes. He had him on absolute toast. Conrad Lamer's playing right back against Rashford. He's a fucking central midfielder. Rashford should be like, absolutely, I'm on this. Like, I'm just going to tear this guy an arsehole. Like, and he didn't. Like, I don't... The guy's a central midfielder. It's like us playing Casemiro at right back. Like, you should have him all day. As a winger, that should be your ideal situation. A guy doesn't play in a position, doesn't know how to situate himself, is a central midfielder, isn't quick. I'm having this guy. And he didn't. He really didn't. And that's a problem, man. That's a problem. And you brought Garnacho on in the sort of last 10 minutes. And I thought he was so much better. But again, he's only good off the bench, Garnacho. Like, we've seen when we started him, it doesn't impact games. So it's just like, how if we drop Rashford, who the fuck do we play there?
I have to say, Martial, when he came on, was pretty fucking good. I'm not going to lie. Like, a lot of people were saying at the time, he's not going to have a drop of sweat on his head. He was all cursing it as soon as he was coming on, and I was like, I understand it because he hasn't been great. When he did come on though, he did cause some problems and change that kind of.
I think that's how you use him. That's how you use Martial. We play Højlund for 60, 70, 80 minutes, and then we need something to change up or something. You bring Martial on. Yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to Martial starting on the left the way Rashford's playing. Honestly, I think these players are living off reputation at the minute. Bruno Fernandes and Rashford need to be dropped. I'm telling you, because they are not performing to their levels. I've said this about Bruno since the start of the season. He's had one good performance, and it was against Nottingham Forest. With all due respect, it's Nottingham Forest. In the big games, when it's mattered against Spurs, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and Brighton, he hasn't turned up. It's as simple as that, and he's the captain. So I'm worried about Bruno in a minute. He puts miles in. You can see he's got miles on the clock. Do you know what I mean? Like he does press a lot and he does do a lot of running for the team, but it means fuck all really if you don't have the quality when you actually get the ball. I look at someone the opposite 10 on their team today, Musiala.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God, what a player he is, by the way. Unbelievable. That's what I want from Bruno. Quick movement. Obviously, he's not as quick and athletic, but I'm saying quick movements, get your team in behind. Gnabry, Sane, Kane, they all look like a well-oiled unit, do you know what I mean? Whether one side would switch or Kane would drop, so Musiala would put he was all a well-oiled machine, whereas Rasmus has only played with Rashford once. That was the first time Pellistri, Rashford and Højlund have ever played together. Reguilon, it's like his second game for the team. So obviously we are thin when it comes to the squad, but you have to deal with them situations. Brighton's team cost £30 million that we played on in the last game. So there's no excuses for me. Absolutely no excuses. What are we saying? What are we saying in the chat?
There's a scouser in the chat trying to banter us, but it says it all, doesn't it? Really, that we're still living rent free in their heads because they're coming to a United fan channel of a team they don't follow, of a channel they don't subscribe to, probably, to come in and talk about us when they should be looking at their team. How did your team do in the Champions League? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Sorry, you play on Thursdays, don't you? So sorry.
Yeah, Europa League for you lot tomorrow night. Unless there's anything else, I mean the handball.
At the moment, staying on. Cheers, Jeff.
Is that the wrong one you pressed there?
I don't know. It's just fuck knows. What was I going to say? Ten Hag speaking to the media now, so I want to see what he says about the quotes. Eriksen handball, very quickly. We all in kind of agreement with
Never a handball. Never a handball.
Not handball, like a European soft in the Prem, that's never a handball for me. Ever. So I'm glad we're all.
Why is there two different rules?
I don't know.
Two different rules in. I don't get it. And then there's two different VAR sets, and also on that VAR check, there was two checks for it.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't at first, and he said play on.
Crazy.
And then for whatever reason, he's brought over to the monitor then. But it's so weird, the offside system that they have, for tight calls, they have the AI kind of thing for that, and it actually see the part of the body that is. That's not in the Premier League.
Also,
I
the
really
minutes.
don't know what it is.
How are they adding minutes up as well, by the way? Why are we getting 14 minutes added time, and then we had 3 substitutions, there was a fucking injury, and and we get 4 minutes? Show me the consistency somewhere. What the fuck?
There was also 5 goals scored at that time as well.
Yeah.
And then they had 4 minutes. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm just trying to I'm gonna find.
It would have been 7-7 if there was 14 minutes at that point with the way the game was going at the end.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I think the score line's a little bit flattering, to be honest, because there was times in that game where we was just they were just passing it around. It was so easy. It was a training match, and the players heads are dropped and they're giving up. I've
got some 10 Hag quotes if you want them.
Yeah,
it says, "We can't do the principles of our own game, then we will concede goals." I mean, yeah. It is good that Onana is taking responsibilities about a team. We bounce back as a team. If I have to hear bounce back or fucking we'll be back, I will kill somebody. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. Let's have a look. Is anybody any more? No, then it's Andre Onana. I think there will be more coming, but nothing else so far.
Should we dive into the ratings then? It's been a fucking long day for me. Andre Onana is where we're going to start with that. Look, if he does a howler like that, concedes 4 goals, and what can you give him? But then he did make some terrific saves as well. Yeah. So, what would you give him, lads?
for the mistake, it's got to be D on it, like D plus, because like you can't make a mistake like that in that high stakes of a game. Like you said, he conceded 4. The last one, I don't think you can blame him for because it's just ridiculous. But the rest of it, yeah, I'd say D plus for me just because of that mistake.
Adam, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I'd be in agreement with that. I think F is too harsh because he did pull off some saves, but it was mainly the defense in front of him for a lot of the issues.
Yeah, I'm going to get onto that now. Diego Dalot didn't get a yellow card when I wanted him to, but to be fair, the scoreline didn't finish like that, so it's okay. I'll let him off. Dalot, what would you give him?
I think
He got done, didn't he?
Yeah, he was done a couple of times. He wasn't as effective as Region was on the other side, on the other flank. I thought Region played really well, got really high, like up the pitch, and was effective. I just didn't think Dalot was. So C minus, D plus, something around there. I don't want to be too harsh, but like, he wasn't effectual for me.
Adam?
Yeah, I think just a D for me.
You'd give Dalot a D, is that what you'd say?
Hey, he's moved on from Shaw. He's gone on to Dalot now.
Yeah. To be honest,
apart from fullbacks,
apart from Regulon, I would probably give the fullback line a D. To be honest with you, that sounds so bad. But you know what I mean. I wouldn't give the fullback line a D in as per se. I'm just saying the rating would be a D. Would anyone disagree with that?
I think Region was pretty good. I'd give Region.
What I mean, aside from Regulon.
I think Region is the standout performer in that defensive line.
Yeah, I'd probably give him a C.
I give him a C plus. I think C plus because he created opportunities. He got forward. He was effective. Got the ball in the box with crossing. Who knew our fullbacks could cross a ball into the fucking box?
I know.
Remember that?
Get to the byline as well.
Yeah. Do you remember when we used to do that? So yeah, I'd give him a C plus. I think he was decent. Ten Hag said mistakes will be made. You have to bounce back. We have to believe there are mistakes that we can make a comeback. I'm disappointed. We should stay in the game. If you score 3 goals at Bayern, you should at least take a point. I agree. Yeah, that's the sort of latest quotes from Ten. Oh well, there's a couple more. That's Harry Kane. Yeah, no, that's it.
All he said, the quotes from Harry Kane was
harsh, man. Harsh. Very harsh.
Right, so Regulon C+. How mad is it, by the way, that a player that Spurs don't want has been basically our man of the match for the past 2 games?
Yeah.
That tells you everything where we're at the moment. Midfield,
mentality
Casemiro.
is different, maybe there.
Casemiro scores 2 goals, but I still feel like I want to give him a bad rating.
He was shite, wasn't he? For like pretty much 90% of the game was awful.
What do you do?
Like
He's
just
2 goals. Like,
gave the ball away consistently. Yeah, got pushed off the ball. Like it looks like he had no muscle on him whatsoever. Like guys were just shoving him out of the way to get the ball and pinching it from him. So it's just like
timing as well in his head. He's just. I feel like he feels like he's on like a 2,000 meter pitch. Wait, is that small or big? I don't know. 2,000 meter. How big is a football pitch? 500 meters? Is it?
Don't worry, 2 kilometers that will be then.
Yeah. So yeah, it feels like he's got a lot more time in his head. Yeah, with Casemiro, but I don't know what are we giving him, lads.
He's looking like he's playing in La Liga with the way it's like, and it's a Champions League game with Bayern. It is. Yeah. You're not gonna have time on the ball. It's difficult one, isn't it? Like
I'm gonna go C minus.
He nearly played 90 minutes. Yeah.
I think D plus C minus is that's where it is.
Yeah.
Isn't
Just
it?
purely because of the 2
Scored
goals.
2 goals.
That tiny bit of hope, and even though one of the goals, it was like kind of off his shoulder a little bit, wasn't it? Like his head then and shoulder. But then the actual first one that he scored was really really good, like the build up to it and stuff.
And he scrappy on the floor when he kept all the ball and then scooped it out and put it around. So yeah.
I think he stood on it, did he? By mistake, and then kind of moved it along.
I think the game in general was just strange. There was a lot of weird moments in it.
Second half was just crazy.
Very bizarre. Eriksen,
poor.
Fucking hell.
So poor.
He can't be a starter for us in that midfield. Amrabat needs to hit the ground running, mate, because the balance in the midfield is all over the place. The amount of times we've conceded because midfielders not tracking the runner. Like Eriksen ate it off the ball. He really, really isn't. I don't know how many times I need to say this.
The only moment he had was that opening opportunity that we had with Palestra, where he puts it across to Palestri gets tackled, and it comes to him and he shot a goal. That's the only thing I remember from Eriksen. I think when you play a team, say like Sheffield United or Luton, Eriksen can play because he's going to get time on the ball. He's not going to get hassled consistently. He's not going to get pressed the life out of us. They're going to play in a low block and he'll have time to pick a pass. That's when you play Eriksen. You can't play Eriksen against Bayern Munich or a City or anything like that because he's just going to get mauled. And you saw that. You saw that today. So
in the lineup, in the predicted lineups, I picked McTominay because you could just see that a mile off.
Yeah.
We're never going to dictate the play at the Allianz Arena. That was never going to happen.
No.
So, yes, you're playing him, you conducted certain moments, you nullified him in certain areas, but off the ball, he's so bad. Like, he's going to cost you in a lot of games, so it's not really worth the risk of having the quality on the ball for what
I would have played, after Scott McTominay's performance coming out, I would have played Hannibal, in all honesty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're looking towards that bench, and you're like, Forson, Hannibal, Johnny Evans.
Three goalkeepers.
Yeah, you're like, who the fuck do you bring on? Like,
I would have put one of them in midfield at this rate, honestly.
Yeah,
it might work.
yeah. Eriksen then, lads, come on.
D+. Like, I can't.
I give him an F, honestly.
I'd give him a D-. So, should we go in the middle?
Yeah, go D-.
Yeah,
go
D-.
Like
Bruno Fernandes.
Look, his heart's in it, but he just isn't a good starter for us. And there's probably a joke there to be made, but I don't want to make.
I was just going to say that. Be careful with your terminology there.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes, lads.
Poor again, like big games. He just seems to go missing, or just seems to. I don't know if he goes missing, but he seems to go. I need to try really hard here, and then just completely fluffs his lines. Like there was a shot. When he, see you later, Henry. Peace out, mate. There was a shot. He got the ball out. He came out to the box and he had like acres of space. And instead of passing it through or trying to find a player, he just smashes it into Rose Ed. Yeah. And that summed him up for that game. He's just like, he's trying, but everything he's doing is fucking awful. So, D. Like, I just was not good at all.
Flat, yeah. Adam, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think I would. I know he got an assist as well tonight, but again, like the players they have like on the stats, just like ticking a box it is, but the performance wasn't there, and it hasn't been there for a while. I think you said the only performance he has kind of showed up was Forest this season. That's it.
Forest, yeah,
and it's just not good enough. It isn't a D.
Yeah, agreed. And then we go on to the front three. Palestri's first start. A lot of people excited. Did he live up to the hype, Sam?
I thought he did well. I thought there was some moments. His directness was good. He got at Alphonso Davies quite a bit. He sort of seemed to tire in that second half, like the sort of 60, 70 minute. He seemed to sort of tail off a little bit. He seemed to tire. Seems to lose a little bit of stuff. But for the most part, I thought he was bright. He got back as well. He tracked back. Like that's something you don't see from Sancho or Rashford. Like he tracked back like a motherfucker and defended well and got marked his man. So I thought for his second proper start, I thought it was a decent showing and he needs to be given more opportunities. Apparently he would have been given the opportunity at Brighton, but he travelled from Uruguay the night before, so Ten Hag didn't want to sort of thing. So it's encouraging. I hope he gets more opportunities because he definitely, we've got the two right wingers down, so I'd rather him play. I'd rather him play there than Bruno. Another quote from Ten Hag: every game is huge. We have to make our own luck. Nobody's going to help you. You see the first 25 minutes we were good, as every fucking game. But we didn't score, so we have to stay in the game. But look at the first goal. You have to make it harder to get the shot. Yeah, so that's Ten Hag's quote.
Do we just give Palestri an average rating then, Adam? Because he didn't do a lot wrong. I mean, the opportunity he had in the first couple of minutes was pretty big. But I think Alphonso Davies did well to recover. Apart from that, there wasn't any glaring issues, was there really, from his side, I don't think, from what I can remember.
No, from what I remember, a lot of the goals were just straight down the middle, where I know Dallo got done for one of them, but everything was straight through the midfield between the two centre halves, and a penalty too. Like, you can't put him down that low. It wasn't dreadful. It wasn't a standout, awful performance like the rest of them. Because look, at the end of the day, he's not a star, like a big name player, who should be performing at a high level. He done the best he could. I'd probably give him looking at it, probably C minus. If you're giving Reguilon, what was it, a C plus? Because I think Reguilon was probably our best player.
Yeah. But for context, it's literally like his third start in it or something. You're at
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, Allianz Arena against Alphonso Davies, and you've got fucking Leroy Sané as well on that side, or Gnabry, whoever it is. So, yeah, I think that's probably fair. Rasmus Højlund obviously got a goal. I mean, he's technically scored in both games now. I mean, without like fine margins, he scored against Brighton, and obviously scored today. I don't think it was a supreme elite performance. I think he did bits well, some nice bits of hold up play. His goal kind of deflected, so I wouldn't say he was amazing, but I don't know. What do you think?
It's positive, wasn't he? He was really positive.
Yeah.
Like pushing forward, he was aggressive, he was fighting for the ball, he wanted it constantly, he was shouting, screaming for the ball. He wanted to be involved, which is what you want to see for your strikers. Like, it makes a difference from when you sort of look at Martial, who's, let's face it, his body language a lot of the time is just like, I'm not arsed and I don't want the ball. Yeah. So it's refreshing to see that. Apart from today. But like normally you look at Martial, he's just like, he doesn't look bothered, does he? Which sometimes it's just his natural demeanour, and then other times he is actually not bothered. So it's a thing. But yeah, he looks positive. He's constantly getting into the box. His hold up play was good. He was aggressive. I liked his performance, and yeah, he's not Haaland. Yeah, he's not like Harry Kane. But like, I like what I see so far. Like, there's some encouraging signs there. So I'd give him a C plus. I thought the effort was there, and he got a goal. So I don't see what much more you could sort of say about him, really.
Adam, I would go with a C. What are you going with?
Yeah, I think I'd go with a C as well. I don't think he was our best player on the pitch, but I don't think we're using him to his best capabilities yet. I think, like, we've seen a few goals where he's running in kind of from behind, but he reacts to the ball, especially on the ground in the box, better than a lot of players that I've seen. He's kind of a bit of a fox in the box, kind of. So I don't think we're doing that near enough. Rashford, he can't cross the ball.
Yeah. They need to get used to him, don't they? That's the thing. They've never played with him really, so you need that comfortable kind of connection between each player.
Yeah, you need to build that kind of chemistry, and you get that from working on the training ground and also in time on the actual pitch. They need to get used to his movement, know he's going to be at the end of this. Where does he actually want the ball? Communicate with him and do all this in training. That'll come with time, but I think today he wasn't that bad. He actually, at least he's off the mark now. Hopefully he can get one in the next game.
Yeah, agreed. And then finally, the boy made in Manchester, Marcus Rashford. Big discussion needs to happen with him over the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. I don't think he was great today. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I remember saying I don't know if it was the big season preview that we did, or if it was maybe one of the shows before that, saying he's a purple patch player. He can play. He could be world class for 6 months, but he can also just be non-existent for 6 months. And I feel like he's going through that phase at the moment where you can't rely on him. His touch was way off. He just kept running into blind alleys. His passing was off as well. Like, I just wasn't impressed with his performance at all today. So I wouldn't give him a good rating. I'd probably give him a D minus or something.
Yeah, there was all the frustrating parts of Marcus Rashford's game, his tunnel vision, his lack of sort of focus at times, his tracking back and his defensive work were all on display today. All of the stuff that you don't like about him, that was all to see today. And when you're playing as badly as we are right now, every player needs to be working hard and doing their defensive work and tracking back. Even if it's like you're not good at it, at least just fucking try. Because if everybody's trying, it makes a difference. When we're playing well and we were like sauntering through teams who had that unbeaten run at home, you could afford to carry him, Rashford, and not have him track back because you know he's going to score, you know he's going to do something. That ain't him right now. Like Nick said, he's a purple patch player at times, and he's in a really bad vein of form right now, so he has to do all the dirty work, all the boring stuff to get back in and get us working again. So yeah, he wasn't great. And again, I hope he develops this connection with Højlund, that he can look up, see him, and just give him the ball, because there was about 3 or 4 opportunities he had. He could have cut it back. He did it at the Brighton game. There was about 3. There was a couple at Bayern, and if you put him in, that's a goal. It's a tap in. And it's really frustrating that he gets this tunnel vision and just hits it into the defender, skies it, loses the ball, whatever it is. Because he is a good player, but like you said, how do we find this consistency? Like, how do we get him to be consistent? Because it's a struggle. So
Actually,
yeah,
it's simple. They just need dropping, man. They need
for who?
dropping
Who'd you
because
put
at
there?
the moment, no, that's what I mean, because they know they can't be dropped. I feel like the level's dropped. It's like it was similar under Ollie at times where they just wouldn't change any player. Like Maguire would play consistently, McTominay would always play. And you're like, if they know they can always play, the levels are always going to naturally drop. If you bring in Mount now for Burnley, drop Bruno Fernandes, he's going to think shit. Hopefully you'll get a reaction out of him. Same if you drop Rashford, bring Garnacho in, play Palestri, Garnacho, and Højlund. Like, it's obviously a ballsy move, but sometimes
Play
you need
Hannibal,
to do it to give him a
play
couple of
play
backs.
Hannibal as well. Drop Ericsson, put Hannibal in there.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, like,
McTominay,
what can you lose?
McTominay
Like,
offered
what can you
nothing.
lose right now?
Like,
You know what I mean?
everybody's saying play McTominay, but you saw him come on and he was terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Shite.
So
Yeah.
I don't, like you said, like I don't see how much worse Hannibal could be. He came on against Brighton, got a goal, and looked decent. Play him. Like, let's see what he's got. Burnley it's a perfect game to play Hannibal. It's a perfect fucking game to play Hannibal. Like, let's see it, because like you said, they've someone's got to perform better, man. Have to.
Yeah. Just a last on Rashford's rating. Do you agree with that, Adam? D minus, something like that.
Yeah, I think a D minus. Now I'm going to say something that might seem a bit controversial, but I don't think Rashford's a Ten Hag player. He doesn't show signs of, like, this hard working kind of individual, like off the ball, and like I said it earlier too, over the initial kind of analysis, when he gets the ball out wide, a lot of the time he's not trying to get to that byline. He's kind of just looking up like this, and he just puts it back into midfield, especially when we're trying to be the best transition team in the world, quotes, and we should be breaking at speed, but he seems to slow it down when we need to be speeding it up, and then he's trying to speed it up when we need to slow it down. I don't know, and I just think it's football IQ. He doesn't really have it, and he's been here long enough now. He's a senior player. I know he's just off 30 goals last season, but like, as you said, a purple patch, and we can't afford a purple patch. We need players who can actually deliver right now, especially in the current situation that we're in. 4 out losses in 7 games. Like, that's relegation kind of form.
That's the worrying thing now. I think if you look at the games now that we've played, really the only one we deserved to win was Nottingham Forest. Because we actually turned it around. But even in that game, we conceded 2. The Wolves game, we should have lost. Spurs, second half, dominated us. Basuma, Sarr, etc. Every game, we pretty much deserved to lose. So we're quite lucky that we've come away with any points at all in the league, in my opinion. Burnley's going to be equally as tough. Like you said, they've only got 1 point, but they're going to be fighting for 3. Vincent Kompany, ex-City player, you can see all the narratives forming there. And then you got Crystal Palace in a cup, and Crystal Palace at home, who are actually above us in the league.
And then Galatasaray, and then Brentford, which is 2 extremely tough games. Extremely tough games.
I suppose the positive news is we've got Mount for Rand back. Amrabat should be into the team there. Kobe Mainoo's looking like he's on his way back, so you will have flexibility there and rotation and stuff. But look, we'll part the discussion there. The ratings are done. We've said everything we needed to, kind of got it off our chest. Make sure you will leave a like on the video. Make sure, please, leave a like on the video for. It's been a long day. Leave a like on the video for us. Subscribe to the channel, and make sure you drop us a follow on social media as well: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. And thank you to the lads for coming on. Appreciate it. It's quite late in it, so yeah. Obviously not the result we wanted, lads, but we move forward to Burnley. We'll have a preview for that. Loads of content coming up. Any final words from either one of you?
Just what a mad second half that was. Like, I apologise if we were all over the place trying to talk about this, because it was so hard to sort of find a direction to go on it. Like, insane.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say would be just try and get a win now. 1 win can change a lot. It can build a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence as well, and hopefully we can start that on Saturday.
We need to score first. We need to score first, because when we don't score first, we're shite.
After 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And not concede 2 minutes after.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Oh.
Right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're tuning in live or later on. We appreciate every single one of you getting your comments in, and we'll see you tomorrow for the new show. Take care. Good night.
on mute.